Shanai, welcome to Paisa Vaisa. Thank you so much for doing this for our listeners.
Thank you, Anupam. Great to be here.
Thank you. And I'm trying to understand this, right? I mean, first I want to talk about Edelweiss General Insurance regulation and set a background for our listeners before we go into the actual product. So first, tell us about Edelweiss General Insurance. It seems you're digital first, digital first insurer in non-life segment. Sounds like a mouthful. What is it?
It is. It's a company that has a digital first business model. So all our processes are paperless. Everything is digital. So for a company like us, for instance, in the post-COVID era, we really didn't have to worry. We were continuing business as usual, while a lot of others may have had to activate business contingency plans. So a digital first business is primarily predicated on a digital first business model. So all our processes, whether it's about buying, whether it's about claiming, are digital first in nature. Of course, we cater to customers who may not be very comfortable, and we try and work around that. But our go-to is digital first. So that's who we are.
Understood. Great. Shanai, let's go into regulation because regulation has played a big role in insurance in general and of course in motor insurance also.
Sure.
The product that you have, I believe, is out of what's called the regulatory sandbox that the Insurance Regulation and Development Authority of India, IRDAI, had announced. So let's talk about what was a regulatory sandbox. What was that?
Okay.
And there were some guidelines for motor add-ons or something that was
Right.
that was issued somewhere in July 2020. So let's just talk about that to set a background.
Okay, cool. So regulations, of course, form an important backdrop for insurance. It is a regulated industry, as are all other financial services industries, because we deal with people's money. It's a promise we are making. So the regulators there to make sure that everything's above board, people are delivering, they hold us accountable to what we promise. They look at our products, whether our products meet the required standards of policyholder protection, and this is true of all financial services industries. It's a fiduciary responsibility. As far as regulatory sandbox is concerned, most of us operate within a certain boundary which is defined by regulations in financial services, and insurance is no different. So we had certain product related boundaries that have been defined for us and some other related boundaries. So to foster innovation, the regulator came out with a sandbox environment where they kind of suspended these boundaries for us and said that the world is your oyster. Think about what you want to innovate. Not just us, they encouraged people from outside the industry also to participate and create innovative products, solution services, whatever have you, and pilot it in a certain frame of time and see if it works. And if it works, there would be a sort of glide path to make it mainstream. So that was the context, and that encouraged a lot of players, including us, to come out with innovative products like Switch. Switch, just to give you a context, is usage-based insurance, but we call it on-demand insurance, because in 2020, just think back to 2020, we had just gone into lockdown, and it was really a strict lockdown, right? We were hardly going out on the roads. So what happened was that a lot of people were coming back to us, people who had taken car insurance, saying, why am I buying insurance? I'm not driving a car. And that point of time, we came out with a product saying, hey, you know what? If you don't use your car, don't pay. And they were like, what? How can that happen?
Yeah.
He said, just switch off your insurance. So that was a starting point. And then they had another tranche, and we improved upon that. We said, don't just pay less when you drive less, also pay less if you drive better. That means if you drive well, you pay less. So that was also under this regulatory sandbox. That is this framework that allows suspension of some rules for us to innovate. But given the experience of the last two tranches of Switch and whatever feedback the regulator got from the market, they decided to create regulation to enable these kind of products to become mainstream. So they brought about a regulation in July of 2022 that allowed you to launch an add-on. See, motor product is basically a car. Let me talk in the context of car insurance. In car insurance, you have two parts. One protects your own car. Basically, if you meet with a car accident, then if you have a damage, you repair that, then the cost of that. The other protects if you injure or damage someone else's property or cause bodily harm or injury. So that's called third party liability, which is mandated. So people buy one for themselves and they buy a comprehensive package which includes both, right? And we have a lot of add ons which have supplementary coverages. So, what the regulator did with these regulations is that you can put add on covers which can allow customers to pay as they use or pay how they drive. So, now we had a way to bring this product into the mainstream. So that was, where you can allow people to pay based on the usage.
Yeah.
Usage can be defined by kilometers, by days, by any way that you define usage. And how you drive is the quality of your driving. So that's what
It
happened.
sounds like there's a lot of technology involved out here in
Absolutely.
general. So, in your view, how will technology help change the motor insurance industry going forward?
Um, uh, it's not just technology involved, it is driven by technology. There is no way we can track usage without technology, right? So I think going forward, technology will become core to motor insurance, general insurance, of course, but motor insurance for sure. In fact, we are a little behind the curve in India.
Wow.
Across internationally in the world, pay per mile, pay based on usage, pay based on how you're driving is a well known, well established model. So in India, we are a little behind the curve, but we in Edelweiss General Insurance, we'd already studied the market and we thought that this was a need. There were a lot of people who were not driving their car every day, right? They were saying that why am I paying for it every day? And there were a lot of people who said that I'm paying the same insurance as this other person and I'm a much better driver. This guy speeds, this guy doesn't, drinks and drives, all those kind of things. And those kind of nuances were not coming into insurance at all. So we've always believed in this category, which is why we've invested disproportionate amount of effort into building these kind of products. Today we have an end-to-end app-based product. So for us, it's great that it's possible to launch it mainstream. Technology, these products work on telematics. Telematics is a kind of technology that allows you to track and monitor the usage of a vehicle or monitor how the vehicle is being driven. So these two metrics tell us, how much the vehicle is driven or how well the vehicle is driven. So these two metrics allow us to price the product. What it also does is it personalizes motor insurance. Today, it's the world of personalization, right? Millennials don't want cookie cutter solutions. They said, I'm an individual, talk to me, or Gen Z, not even millennials, now Gen Z, right? So, this allows a personalization of motor insurance based on how much you drive, how well you drive, what's your usage. I mean, internationally, there are things like how regular is your route? Do you drive the same route? How much do you drive at night? There are many, many variables and derived variables that go into personalizing a car insurance. And if you are driving well, there is no reason that you should pay the same premium as a person who may not drive so well, because the probability of you having your accident is lower.
Yeah.
And internationally, studies have proven that the probability of an accident is determined more by how you drive than by if you had an accident before.
Yeah, very interesting. So, before we go into the break, Shanai, what's your view, your outlook on the motor insurance industry in general going forward? Any regulatory or any other milestones or announcements that you're looking forward to?
I think honestly, this announcement that happened has been a big milestone. We haven't even, and we will see the repercussions of this milestone for many, many years to come. I think motor insurance is going to become a far more integrated product with technology, where you are going to have not just motor insurance, it's going to be more than motor insurance. For instance, we are thinking of, if I am able to integrate it with the car, if there is an impact, can I dial out the customer and say, we felt an impact, are you doing fine, and if there is a problem, trigger the RSA, which is roadside assistance, or required trigger hospital. So there's a lot of services that you can build around that.
That's possible, actually.
Of course, it's
Wow.
possible with technology. And motor insurance for us, the way we are looking at it, it's not just going to remain a product which, takes care of financial emergency if you have an accident. We want to make it preventative, which is why we are introducing products like Switch, where we are encouraging you to drive well, right? And we also want to say that it's not just about driving. What are the other support systems, or what is the other thing that you need on the platform? We will provide all of that, so that related to your car, we are sort of a one-stop solution. So
Yeah.
that could be the future of motor.
Anything you're looking at from the government? Because I hear that in some countries you get penalized the more you offend. As in, you have a first offense, you get there's some penalty, second, third, all the way to actually suspending your license completely. And that's not in your hands, obviously. You're just the insurer.
Yeah.
But anything there?
So one thing is there that there have been certain pilots to say that we will link your car insurance or your insurance premium to the number of traffic offences you have, and it is possible to do that with all your traffic. All of us get e-challans, right?
Yeah.
All the traffic offences. So it
Not
is
all
possible.
of them are, all the time accurate. Some of them are off. But
Well,
you're right, yeah. At least
we
better
can
than
decide.
what
Let's see. We can decide. I can say that okay, maybe I want to ignore if you overstepped that white line, but overspeeding challan I don't want to ignore. So those kind of things can be done by insurers. Pricing for own damage, which is the damage that you do to your own car and you pay for it, is determined by insurers. So the pricing is completely in our hands. Third party or liability insurance is still in the government's hands. However, the one thing, it's not a technology related thing, but I would say in the larger interest of the country, a large percentage of vehicles still continue to be uninsured, right? Third party liability, I'm not talking about own damage. And I think it's very easy to kind of reduce that if we improve checking. So, cops check for so many things. I think if we become stricter about implementation, the fact that you need to have a valid third-party license while driving, and checking whether that third-party license is valid is also very easy. It's completely technology-enabled. So if we can become stricter about implementation, that will improve penetration of insurance, and that will protect the society as a whole. Because when accidents happen, people get seriously injured or unfortunately lose their life, there is a liability insurance to pay the claim. So
Yeah,
I would suggest that.
We saw that very
Yes,
tragically very recently.
tragic,
So, you're right. I hope that the government and the road transport departments of the individual states can actually work with insurance to make this happen. You're saying that's actually possible.
Of course.
And let's hope that happens in the future, folks. On the we're going into a small break right now. On the other side, we'll actually talk of the product, how it works, of the technology. What is usage-based insurance all about right after this short break?
Hello, everybody. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Shunya 1, Sheila Ditya is joined by Sonakshi Nathani, co-founder and CEO of e-commerce platform Bikai. Sonakshi shares how Bikai helps small businesses create their online shops on WhatsApp by building their e-commerce channel. On Cock and Bull, Cyrus Kajol and Abbas talk about McDonald's bringing back nostalgic Happy Meal toys and a Bengaluru tea shop that accepts payment in crypto. On All Things Policy, the Takshashila folk look at issues around moonlighting and analyze what the future of work might look like. On the season finale episode of Don Baika Gappa Aika, Avanti and Aparna discuss the life and issues of child actors who are exposed to the glitz and glamour of showbiz at a young age. And on A Niche Thing, Anish Bhasin talks to fellow IVM host Ashton Doctor. They both share their experiences of intermittent fasting for years, from fasting for 18 hours to 5 days. Guys, go to our website, ivmpodcast.com. You can check out the merch store, also links to all of our social media stuff, which is at IVM Podcast. Also, do check out our YouTube channels. We have a number of channels with many of your favorite shows available as full video podcasts. Finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Volvo XC40 Recharge, Bumble, Heads Up for Tails, and HDFC Mutual Fund. Thank you so much for making this possible.
And welcome back. Okay, Shanai, let's talk about usage-based insurance, the concept, because it's slightly new. You're the first,
Yes.
Yeah. Edel was the first one to introduce this back in 2020, is it?
Yes.
Already been 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, the concept, and how has your own journey been so far in this product?
So usage based, as the name suggests, is that you're linking or the insurance is based on the usage of insurance. So a very simple example, when we launched our product, was what I told you, that people were not driving their cars. So they said, I'm not using my car, so why should I pay insurance? In fact, someone asked us, why should I pay for insurance 365 days a year when I'm not using my car? So then we thought of the product Switch, which is switch off, right? So I said, okay, switch off your insurance. So that is usage based. Now, if I wanted another way to express it is on demand. If I want it, I switch it on. If I don't, I switch it off. So this is one dimension of usage based. The other dimension, which is very popular, is kilometer based, because the assumption is that the more you drive, the possibility of an accident is higher, because opportunity of accident is higher. So people do kilometer or miles based pricing. There are international products that were launched, or companies that were launched only because they were mile based. So you used to pay insurance based on how many miles or how many per kilometer per mile insurance. So this is usage based. Then there is user based also, which basically means that I'm also going to price it based on who is using my insurance, which is driving behavior based. India, of course, our insurance is instant. You buy it and you go it, and insurance is fairly cheap in India compared. Yes,
Are you
it is.
serious?
Yes. So just to
Kind
give
of-
you a sense, our insurance own damage is about 1.5% of the value of the vehicle.
Vehicle,
Why
yeah.
1.6, 1.7%. But internationally, these numbers are much higher. They're in the range of 4 to 5 to 6%. So
Wow.
if you've had the experience, if you've ever gone to Europe or US and tried to hire a car and try to pay insurance
Pretty expensive, is it?
it is expensive.
Okay.
It is quite expensive. And there, the insurance, you are buying the insurance. In India, it's a difference. You buy insurance for your car, so your car is insured. Internationally, you have to buy insurance. You are insured. So the person, Anupam, is buying the insurance. Here in India, Anupam is buying insurance for his car.
Okay.
So that's very different, right? So the person who's driving, their driving or their behavior becomes very important, which is not so in India so far. Now it will start becoming important. So there they make you, some companies make you do a driving test. So there's a
And insurer tells you to
InsurTech, which tells people that you download the app, drive around for 1 month, you get a score. Based on that score, you get your premium. And insurance is expensive enough for people to go through that process.
How does app talk to the car?
Okay, so here's telematics, right? Our mobile, which is has many inbuilt sensors. So you of course have GPS, you have a gyroscope, you have an accelerometer, you have a magnetometer, and you have a proximity sensor also.
Yeah.
So all these things are there, and all of that helps us to track how fast you're driving, whether you're doing sudden acceleration, whether you're braking, whether you've done a harsh cornering. All of these give us a good sense of what are your driving metrics, and it also gives a sense of how much you've driven. So both these things help us track both how much you've driven and how well or not well you're driving. So these sensors help, and this is an app, right? And of course we have a telematics solution provider that pulls all this data and kind of analyzes it and gives us these metrics, saying this is harsh cornering, or this is sudden acceleration, sudden braking, and so on and so forth. And as far as distance goes, this is the distance traveled, this is the route, which all of us know anyway, Google Maps, right? So these things the mobile helps us track, and it helps us know that this person is driving well. Of course, you have to be practical also. Like, a lot of people asked us questions. I have my mobile phone, right? In India, I'm going in my car, but I may not be going in my car. I may be driving in my friend's car. My friend is driving, so is my car insurance on? So what we do is, when we detect motion, when our product detects motion, it switches on the insurance, so that, but we give 24 hours to the customer with a notification, say, hey, we've switched your insurance on, but if you're not driving in your own car, switch it off.
Okay.
So that possibility. So technology today makes it totally possible, based on all the inbuilt sensors that you have on your phone, to track how much and how well you're driving.
So 2 questions here. One is that, so you don't need an OBD, which is, I think it's called onboard diagnostic,
yes.
on your car. This actually works on the app. Did I get that right?
Yes, our product works on that. So there are telematics also has gone through an evolution internationally. In India, we still haven't. So you're absolutely right. There is an OBD device. There is again a device it's called a beacon or a chip, which is put on the windscreen. That along with your phone works as a telematics device, and then of course there's app based. We launched app based because we wanted to have minimal friction in adoption, right? When the moment you say OBD, what happens? You have to courier an OBD, someone has to install it, there's the cost of that OBD, and then people are not very willing to install anything in their car, right? There's a lot of barrier there when it comes to adoption. So we didn't want that, and it was a pilot. We wanted to see acceptance. So we said, let's make it really simple for people to adopt. Buy it online in maybe under 1 minute and download the app and activate the policy. That's all that it takes, versus getting an OBD. Of course, when you have an OBD, the kilometer tracking is much more accurate, but an app works just as well when you are not tracking it down to the last kilometer.
And the second question I had is that not all phones have proximity sensors, accelerometers,
You're right.
gyroscopes, etc., etc.
Smartphones, most smartphones have
Yeah.
it. Most smartphones have it.
So, in the off chance that I have a feature phone or something, and maybe a lower end car, would this not be available to me then?
So as of now, yes, it is a product is an app.
Yeah.
So you kind of need to have
Yeah.
the app you need to kind of have a smartphone. But I am pleasantly surprised by how many smartphones already have it, and especially things like GPS and gyroscope and accelerometer. How many smartphones have it already? And I don't know whether to call them low end. I have no sense of what is low end smartphone.
A new iPhone was just launched yesterday, so we are losing track of what is low end and what's high end these days.
So I
Yeah.
really don't know. But I think a lot of smartphones have that capability, and we are catering to a very, very big market. And let's face it, it's the TikTok. TikTok is a bad word, okay? It's the
Insta Reels?
YouTube, Insta Reels world. They need
Yeah.
smartphones.
Yeah.
They can't survive without them.
So, 2 years, right? You launched this in 2020,
Yes.
out of which I guess 1 year was affected by the lockdown, pandemic,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And now, how's been the experience so
So-
far? Acceptance, experience and all that?
So we launched it in Sandbox, right? Sandbox limits how much we can do. So they had set limits. You can't do more than that. So the moment you reach that limit, it's over. So the acceptance was good for us because we reached that limit. And what was truly heartwarming was that, when people completed 1 year, they came back. Imagine people coming back and asking for motor insurance. Can I buy that product?
Yeah.
He said, I'm so sorry, that product has to be launched again because we had a 1 year approval.
Huh.
But now with the regulations that have just come in, that can be a product that
Wonder.
can be always...
I'm wondering why I don't have it. Come on, seriously.
You should have it. You should absolutely buy it. In fact, we had gone, I wouldn't say where we went, but we went to a government organization and we were trying to explain, and we showed the app and they were like, can we buy it? I just drive 2 kilometers. Can I buy it? I just drive 5 kilometers.
Yeah.
So he said, of course you can buy it.
Okay, tell us how Switch works. What does and is this out of the sandbox now and easily and available to everyone as much as possible? First is that, and then just walk us through this now.
Okay, so first let me talk to you about Switch. Okay, Switch is a product. You go online, you write down which car you're driving, the registration number, you get all the details, and you just buy the product. Then the moment you buy, you get an SMS on your phone to download an app. Both on Play Store and App Store, you download the app. You fill up a few personal details like your driving license. I think you have to take a picture and all of that. And your phone gets activated. Then you have a calendar, weekly calendar. If you want, you can set up your weekly calendar saying I drive Monday to Friday. Okay, so it's green on Monday to Friday, and Saturday, Sunday it's switched off. So that's a standard calendar for you that you set up. But at any point of time, you can go and switch it on off. You can change it. So once you've done that, you'll also see a wallet on your dashboard saying that this is your saving. So when you start using that, wallet will say that, okay, every route that you drove, every trip that you drove, this is your score. This is where you did badly, this is where you did well, and this is your saving or lack thereof. Okay. So you keep on seeing your savings accumulate. And what happens in Switch, there are 2 parts to a product I explained to you, right? Third party liability and OD. Third party you have to buy. It's annual, it's mandated, you can't do. OD also has 3 components. If there's a fire, theft, and accidental damage. Fire and theft, you need 24/7. It can happen anytime, right? You can't switch it off,
Yep.
really. But accidental damage is linked to driving. So we've kept accidental damage linked to driving, and we take upfront premium for only 60 days. So we limit your upfront commitment, and that 60 days can last you 365 days if you don't drive as much.
Correct.
So based on the number of days that you've driven in the last month, and on top of that we apply the discount based on your driving behavior, we debit your premium every month to your debit card, credit card, whatever you've saved with us, and it becomes like a subscription that we pay. Lot of people, actually, I can tell you for myself, when I had bought it the first time, I was one of the first customers. The first premium, because it was 2020 that I bought, I didn't even use 60 days. I got a refund at the end. So there are a lot of people, and you'll be surprised, there is at least 60 days in a year that you don't use your car. If you just think back, you're traveling,
Vacation or
weekends,
something.
vacations,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
many.
yeah.
So you can definitely save that, right? So we did all of that math, and we said you save that. So not only does it allow you to get savings based on your driving,
Mhm.
it also reduces your upfront commitment, and it debits your premium on a subscription basis monthly based on your usage. So this is Switch.
Okay.
It is under the Sandbox, and IRD has already released exposure draft to extend the period of Sandbox from the initial 6 months to 36 months. Hope that comes through. Then that means this product is available for at least 36 months. But beyond that, we can also introduce this product as an add-on to the basic motor insurance. We've already launched one add-on, which is Pay As You Drive, where we've created 3 slabs of kilometers up to 5,000, 7,500 and 10,000. If you drive in any of these slabs, then you get an upfront discount to your premium, up to 25% to your premium. You get an upfront discount. We are very soon going to be launching another variant of this. So under Switch, we will have an entire suite of on-demand products. So the entire product can be on demand, or you can just take an element. Say you drive, you're not very confident of how well or how badly you drive. So you just say, but I don't drive too much. I want to take based on kilometers. So you can choose that add-on. You can choose both together. So there'll be a lot of permutations, combinations that will be coming up under our entire Switch suite of on-demand motor insurance products.
Very flexible. This sounds really interesting. I'm trying to understand this, okay? Because for whatever time that I have owned a car and I've been taking insurance, I just pay once in a year and that's it. It's done.
Yeah.
How does this actually is like a subscription model you're saying? Have I understood that right? I mean,
yes, you're absolutely right. So you do have to pay something upfront, because like I said, some portions of it are annual, some government mandated and some for your own protection. But a big part can be subscription based, and we take an upfront amount, a sort of not deposit, but like some amount to cover your next 60 days.
Sure.
And then it keeps on getting debited based on your usage. If you have zero usage, you'll have a zero debit.
Yeah. So how do my savings work out here? Like I think if I take 1% of the car value being the insurance amount, you take maybe a Wagoner, it's say about 5-6 lakhs or 7 lakhs, you're paying about 70,000 odd or something, or 7,000, sorry. 7,000. What would it be here in the usage?
So on an
model?
average,
I mean, I'm just trying to quantify the savings.
So I'm just trying to, I'll give it to you in a percentage mode. On an average, we are seeing a 20-25% saving.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's really a lot.
That's assuming you drive less than average. Suppose you're driving 5-6 days a week, unlikely. But if you're driving well in that 5-6 days a week, you could still see a 15-20%
Any sneaky people? I mean, people doing some kind of musty, because all of us like to play around, and especially now you're giving me the chance, because
unfortunately, yes, people do try and game it, but I don't want to announce it here and give ideas to people.
Folks.
But yes, there are. We learned in our first pilot. We learned how people try to game it, and we've incorporated some of that learning in the second one. You get smart. You have to learn, right? Life, if you don't learn, then what's this
is
point?
this also for two-wheelers? I'm assuming two-wheelers is tougher to track than
not
that's
yet.
what I thought.
Not yet. Two-wheelers, also the premium in two-wheelers, mostly buy third-party premium. They don't really buy own damage. So haven't yet got into two-wheelers.
Okay, for cars, it's a little bit tricky, right? You have stuff like zero depth, engine protection, flooding, X, Y, Z. There's something on, there's
Yeah.
a lot of depth out there for different stuff that you can protect. How does it work for pay as you, for usage based?
So there are two products we are talking about. Switch, for instance, has a lot of things inbuilt into the product. Zero dep, etc., is already inbuilt into the product, and we created the product like this. Pay as you drive, which is an add-on, can be just bolted onto a product along with. So you have basic motor, which gives you your basic protection, and then you add on. So what you said, zero dep, engine protect, all these are add-ons. And pay as you drive is also another add-on. So let's say 1,000 is your basic motor premium, or all these add-ons cost you another $300. Then you add on a little bit, $50, and you get 25% off. You don't add on with $50, you get 25% off if you add this on. So that's how it works. So you get a total combination premium of all the add-ons and the base product. And then if you take pay as you drive and you are in the eligibility slab, then you can get a total discount on the premium.
Very interesting. Is there any part of the premium that the government pays? I mean, look at the potholes. Look at the flooding. I mean, look at the way that we... And that's not my fault, right? I mean, what if I'm taking my car, it hits a pothole, it registers as a crash, and that comes on my account. मैंने कुछ नहीं किया ना. It was because of the... Anything there?
In India, we should have a road conditions charge.
Just saying.
I know, I totally agree, because I know how many cars have accidents because of potholes, how many two-wheelers have accidents because of potholes, and very unfortunate accidents at that. In fact, on a maybe not a very serious note, we were talking about it today. It's in India, maybe you should have premium on based on how others drive, because अपने आप को बचा लोगे.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Especially in North, in Delhi, like the rate of accidents that we have compared to Bombay is much higher.
Yeah.
So
do you have boat insurance? Because these days a car doubles up as a boat also.
Yes, Bangalore, right?
With the way it's going,
Yes.
Nothing on that.
Boat insurance, no,
Okay.
we don't have car converting into boat yet. No.
How has the product worked so far? I mean, has it gone smooth in terms of the output that's coming from the app versus reality?
We were testing it for almost 3 months internally, and we had about 30 odd people, or 15 or 30, 20 people testing it, and we had driven about 15,000 kilometers combined. So we had a lot of beta testing before we went live with the app.
How does this work in other countries, where I'm assuming that this is much more smoother, much more matured, much more integrated? I'm sure the government also has probably some role to, not really?
No, not
so
really.
So how does it work abroad?
So abroad also works. I told you one example where people download the app, they drive around for 30 days. They call it the driving test. There are a couple of companies in US that do this, and they give you, a premium based on your driving behavior. And you pay that premium, and then the similar thing, you download the app. Some people have an OBD device, some people don't. Some people have a beacon and an app. There are also companies, like there's a company in South Africa called Vitality, which rewards people on how well you drive. So you buy a policy and they make you download the app and maybe make you buy that beacon. But based on, so there's no premium connection there, but based on how well you drive, they give you rewards, and they give you fuel vouchers, discounts on fuels, and actually quite amazing rewards, and that's a really good program for them.
It sounds actually like a consumer product more than an insurance product.
It is totally, and I have seen that product, and it's fantastic. And I think in India also, if we were able to gratify people more immediately based on... In fact, that's one thing, actually, good point you raised it. We tried to do that with Switch. Why we did a subscription-based model is that I thought we don't want people to wait 1 year to see the benefit of driving well. If you're driving well, you should see that savings immediately, and that's why we did a subscription-based model with Switch.
Yeah. Do you think the car manufacturers have any role to play out here?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we're talking to a few of them, because most cars are intelligent now, right? They come with this OBD or telematics device, they come inbuilt. Now, what we have is a platform. We are today receiving all the telematics input from a third-party service provider. If the car, we can tie up with a car manufacturer to receive all these inputs from the car's telematics device and give a product to the customer. So today, instead of buying and paying a premium for, say, 1 year and 3 years for TP, you can buy for 60 days and you can debit it every month. So your cost of ownership can go down.
Can go down. Yeah.
And also, we are encouraging people to drive better. In fact, anecdotally, one of our people was having tea with someone.
Not by driving the.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, and with a cop. He met a cop at some tea stall on the roadside, and he was showing the app. It was in its beta. And the cop was very excited. He said, "Why don't you give it to us? We will give it to people
It'll
and tell
make their
them to
life
drive
easier. Yeah.
drive better." So our app doesn't just tell you this is the saving. With every trip, it tells you where you went wrong, and it encourages you to
Wow.
drive
How
better.
about that?
So yeah.
Now comes the tricky part. Okay,
Okay.
we know that this is, it's a pain in the ass for a lot of people because of the way the system works. Claims. How do they work on Switch? Yeah.
It's completely on the app.
Yeah.
So if you can dial out RSA, which is roadside assistance, from the app. You can contact a call center from the app. You can file a claim on the app. There is a claims journey. You can just fill in the details and take a picture of the damage, and our claims team takes over from there. So you don't have to call up or do anything.
No agent in.
No, not at all. Not
and
at all. But I want to say that it's not just for Switch, but all our motor insurance products. Please call our call center. You don't need to contact anyone else. We really believe when we say take us for granted, I think this is our moment of truth. We live for that.
Yeah, I mean, in the West, in developed countries, you see this in movies, in Hollywood movies, for example, where two cars crash for whatever reason, they exchange insurance or something of that sort.
Yes.
Out here, of course, when two cars crash,
you manage your own.
Exactly.
See, internationally, you're right. In India, we have a knock-for-knock arrangement where, it's like you take care of your car. This is between insurance companies. So we basically say you take care of your car that you've
First,
insured.
of course, you fight on the road, and then after that,
that is between the insurance companies. Don't fight on the road. But we basically say that car is insured by you. You take care of it.
Correct.
I will take care of this car, because in India, proving fault itself will be one, mammoth exercise. Internationally, that's very easy. Once you have, people just agree, okay, it was my fault. The rules are very clear, right? You dash from behind, it's the guy who's behind, that person's fault. So those rules are not very clear, and let's face it, it's a really chaotic scene on the road.
How do you think claims will get better? Because today what happens is that, if you have a car and if it is, God forbid, of course, involved in an accident, the whole denting, you first take it to an authorized service, wherever you take it basically, there's then very well established machinery that starts to go into place. Sometimes there could be an agent, sometimes the workshop itself could be involved in processing the claim, etc. If the damage is 100, maybe you'll get 70, maybe you'll get 80, or I don't know what. It's at least I would say that compared to health insurance, car insurance is still smoother. Health insurance, so let's not go there. What do you think about this claims process? Because at the end of the day, insurance is all about
claims.
Yeah. So
you're right.
What do you
That's
think?
a promise. If I have to be honest about it, I think there's a long way to go for us as an industry, and it's not for the want of trying. Honestly, many times, what happens, the industry builds controls and checks in places for people who are going to take chances or game the system, and unfortunately other customers also end up suffering. In India, unfortunately, there are a lot of people who try and game the system. How many times is it that you go for an ordinary service to the garage and a few scratches, the guy will say that मैं accident में करवा लूँगा.
Yeah.
And what this does is this increases, one, the insurance company knows that this happens. So you're always trying to figure, is it an old damage, is it a current damage? And then, of course, if you end up paying, it increases the premium eventually, because you have to collect the money from somewhere. So some people start subsidizing. But I think technology has a solution to this. So there are a lot of things, like if, for instance, I'll give you a hypothetical right now. You have an app-based product where a car meets with an accident. The impact immediately tells us that there is an accident. So no one can fake an accident, right? We know if there is an accident, you're telling me that this is the time and this location you had that accident, then it's very easy to ascertain whether you had that accident and what location you had. And at that point of time, if we suppose call out to the customer saying you've had an accident, and we take the pictures right then and there. So there is very little loss of information. You can instantly say that, okay, this is the picture from the time of accident. You can ascertain the damage. And honestly, the only things that are not paid for are things that are depreciated. But if you have a zero dep cover, even that is not depreciated. So you pretty much get 80-90% of the claim back. And in motor insurance, a lot of times what we encourage people to do is to call the insurance company first, because we also have a preferred network of garages where we can tell you that if you go there, we will make sure that your things get done smoothly because we have a direct arrangement. We, for instance, have a pick-up and drop arrangement. So if you call us up and you have an accident, our garage will come and pick it up, our network garage, and they will make sure that it goes smoothly. So I think technology can smoothen the process. So the entire process that you spend in survey, etc., survey or IANA. In our case, 40-50% of our survey is digital.
Wow.
So it can be, if the customer is available, it is instant, right? The moment the customer calls us, we send a link, the person surveys, and we can start. We have, in fact, we send out a newsletter every quarter to our customers called Open House, where we share details on claims and where we share the fastest claim. I think fastest claim was under 2 hours or something that we paid.
That's awesome.
But everyone needs to participate here, right? So I think claims process needs a lot of improvement, has been improved, can be improved much more, and technology clearly provides us the platform to do that. And insurers are definitely investing in that.
Yeah, and Shanai, I just hope that this goes a long way in improving road safety. I mean, I was reading a
Yes.
statistic recently because of this very unfortunate accident that happened, that India has got some 2% of the world's cars, but 10% of accidents. And the kind
Accidents.
of cost that we pay in India is huge. I mean, there's a report, I don't know who wrote it, but it's actually like a percentage of GDP lost for young lives on the road. And I hope that, I wish your company, all the very best. If this product can make all of us drive safer and save and get paid for that, I think it's
I think
a
we
good
will-
place to be in.
Definitely, and we would love nothing better because, like I said, as an insurer, we are not just about protecting, we also want to play a role in preventing.
Yeah.
And this is our attempt to prevent road accidents, encourage and incentivize people to drive better.
Yeah.
And also maybe in future we will start giving alerts for wearing seat belts. And now already cars are saying that, you
have
will
to,
get
yeah.
alerts for seat belts. I mean, so many things that all of us can do together.
Yeah.
But definitely road safety is something that we need to address in India.
Yeah, I could do an entire episode on road safety. But you have health insurance by any chance?
Yes.
Any chance that you'll people who are slim, people who don't eat desserts, they get cheaper health insurance?
I don't want to penalize people who eat desserts, but yes, we have a plan, but our the problem that we are solving in health is a little different. The problem that we will first solve in health is one is we are launching a product called digital OPD very soon, so you'll hear about it. But I think health is unnecessarily complicated, and there's what you said right now. I don't know what I'll get. So we want to create a product. Our aspiration is to create the simplest health insurance product, so the person who's buying knows that I will get this except for these 5 things. A lot of people in my company say, हमने तो लिख दिया पूरा. I said, 50 पेज लिखोगे कौन पढ़ेगा? You have to write 1 page. Attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. So.
The Insta reel generation.
Absolutely,
Whatever.
I think we should have a health insurance with an Insta reel.
Oh, please come back to please come back to the studio with the health insurance. Whenever you're out with it, we'd really be happy to have you there.
Absolutely.
But folks, there you go. That is the wrap on this episode of Paisa Vaisa. My guest, Shanai Ghosh, CEO and Executive Director of Edelweiss General Insurance. And I thank you so much for doing this for our listeners.
Thank you, Anupam. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
No material on the show should be considered as financial advice. The material on the show is for informational purposes only. Please consult a financial advisor before taking any investment decision.